So hi, today we are going to discuss that why one should study in Switzerland and why it becomes one of the most popular destinations for education. Here's the map of Switzerland. Switzerland is in Central Europe and it shares border with amazing countries like France, Italy, Germany and many more. The key facts of Switzerland. The most interesting fact is over here there are three languages spoken, which is German, French, and Italian. But you will be happy to know that Switzerland has one of the most highest English speaking population as well. It is the most educated country in itself and very well equipped. So why one should study in Switzerland? The reason is that you get a diverse culture, a lot of diversity. The second, it is the most beautiful country. It has a lot of scenic beauties, high class cities. You will get an international network. As it is in Central Europe, you get access to more than 27 countries in Europe. You can go travel with that one Schengen visa and one can have their destinations explored. You can have more efficiency in terms of education, a safe place to live, and a world-class higher education. I would like to go through about how the education system is in Switzerland. So in Switzerland, there are two main ways or pathways you can say that education system in Switzerland have. The first is the universities of cantonals, or you can say publicly funded universities. So there are 10 cantonal universities and two federal institutions of technology, right? You can see the entire list on the left hand side. The reason why one should choose publicly funded university or cantonal university is because they are cheap, they have higher ranking in terms of world ranking. The second level, okay, with this it is also very difficult to get in because they have a lot of examinations and testing systems which one needs to clear. And the second pathway is one can choose a private institution. Now again, there are certain benefits if one choose a private institution for their education. If you go and look more into universities of private institutions or universities, you'll find that two main differences. First is a private university or college. Now they actually provide you a 3 years degree, okay? And private institutions are the one who are not providing you a degree, but they are giving you associate diplomas or associate degrees or just a certification program. To clear, we are not into public institutions because the visas ratio is very tough. So we never advise students from any nationality to continue and go forward to the institution part. Rather, they can go to a private university because one a student is getting enrolled, they get a degree in 3 years, which is equivalent to the cantonal university provided degrees. So when you talk about degrees, there are two main divisions here. First, there are universities in Switzerland which give their own degrees, like Geneva Business School gives their own degree. But say BHMS, it's one of the university, they provide degree, one from Switzerland and one from UK. So there are universities in Switzerland which gives you dual degree programs in the program of 3 years. Plus they have internship programs, they have excursions between the educational program. So these are also one of the most important aspects why one can choose to study in Switzerland. Programs offered are multiple, which is from bachelor's, master's and MBA, which is one of our key forte area and should always recommend students for this. If a person is looking forward to do a PhD program, it is amazing because the university's education system is such that the PhD is worldwide recognized and have a lot of resources. Like just to give you example, that psychology was developed in Switzerland. First professor was from Switzerland. So this is the reason why PhD is famous. Talking about the intakes, the public institutions generally have one intake which is going to be fall, which is from the months of September, October, November, not late than that. And there are a couple of university which includes the private colleges or universities which have almost 2 to 3 intakes round the year depending upon which degree you are choosing. So supposing if you go for say you want to go for MBAs, so September and January. But if you want to go for hospitality, so you may have 3 intakes, maybe from September, January, and one in April. So talking about the tuition fees in Switzerland, so Switzerland might be a very expensive country to live in, but the fees can be as low as 1500 and go up to 8500 per semester. These prices are for the publicly funded university, but when you move to private university, they are slightly higher from say 2500. So your cost can go up to 10,000 or 12,000 Swiss franc per term. Total cost of Switzerland can be seen over here. So a meal can be as high as 25 CHF, cinema tickets is 18 CHF, monthly rental can be from 1,000 to 5,000 CHF. The counseling tips when client enters, I guess the main reason one should study Switzerland is because it is famous for hospitality, culinary arts, business, corporate finance. These four things are, and one more, tourism. So these five, I would say, are the key area of interest if a student carries can become more profound if he or she travels to Switzerland. Let me also clarify you over here. If a person is looking forward to stay in Switzerland, so have a residence permit after their education, it is certainly possible because the recruiter or the employer are the one who actually gives them the supporting documents and they carry out their living there. Number one. Number two, there are a couple of universities in Switzerland which gives you a global placement opportunity. Yes, that's right. So you can study 6 months in Switzerland and you can work 6 months in USA or UK or Middle East or Japan. So there are a couple of universities, just one example, with say BHMS, the second can be SHSM, Les Roches, Gillon, a few example. Ritz College is also one of the examples. So these are all private institutions, but they give you an opportunity to have global experience. To mark, wherever they work, they are paid, their health insurance is covered, and the food and lodging is given by the employer itself. So here is the advantage again. So you should also understand one thing, that colleges over there require a minimum of 50%, which is very important, and for masters at least 55%. But if the student has less marks and is still wanting to study in Switzerland, we can always help them out in some or the other way. Do not accept students with long gaps and multiple backlogs, because here is the visa people comes in picture and can become difficult for them to get an approval in visas. So the age bracket what we look out for is always below 30 years, and the gap shouldn't be more than 5 years in my opinion, 5 to 6 years. And if there's a gap, you need to have relevant work experience and documented. There is always a credibility interview check from entire European country. So if a person wants to study in XYZ university, so after submission of the application, you always have an interview round. An interview needs to be attended by the candidate in English, and that is actually the part of the application process. We are there to help them and give them the interview training, but the client's English should be good, fair enough, so that they can clear the interview and get the offer letter, because only after clearing the interview they get the offer letter or a rejection letter on an outcome. So after a student completing their education, one more thing to add, between so if a person is wanting to work, so let's talk about part-time working. So in Switzerland, you can work part-time up to 21 hours a week. But there are a couple of universities which has a rule that you cannot work. So there is a catch over here. So if a person is wanting to work there with their education, we will need to choose the universities accordingly. So example, BHMS doesn't give part-time working at all. But Geneva Business School gives you permission to work 21 hours a week. Same goes with the entire cantonal universities and some other private institutions. If you are belonging from a non-English speaking nation, you will need to give IELTS or TOEFL in order to clear the admission part as well as the visa part. This is a huge list which can be always be found on your Switzerland embassy embassies email, website, and the university's email address. And lastly, talking about the permanent residencies. So if you continue to live in Switzerland for say 10 continuous years, you are eligible to apply for citizenship, permanent citizenship or residency in Switzerland. So if you are a good resident for Switzerland for 10 years, then you are granted permanent residency in Switzerland leading to citizenship. So here it is. Thank you very much.